Well, I think clearly people have a hunger for this political drama. So I think what we should do is have a Jersey Shore style political reality TV show house. So that way we can get our drama fixed.
And every one of the alternative media companies has to send one person.
Yes. So then there's our drama, but then
we'll
everyone
send
else.
Ian, because I think that's our best bet.
Ian will be desperately trying to make everyone get along, but
That would go
naively,
viral.
like, not understanding the political conflict. Like, we'll get leftists and right-wingers. He'll be like, guys, you got to work together on this. And they'll be like, he's a fascist. She's a commie.
This is a great idea.
Right? I'm telling you, this is the
a great
game show,
idea.
right?
At the,
It's missing piece.
At the very least, it'd be a hilarious sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So viral.
Let's talk about the next bit of drama that's erupting across the internet. Check this out from Timcast.com. Sydney Watson sues Blaze TV over alleged abuse by Elijah Schaefer. Wow. This is so crazy. Okay, look. For those that aren't familiar, they had a show on Blaze called, it was You Are Here, right?
Yeah.
You Are Here. Relatively short-lived. I think the Blaze deleted all of the content and changed the channel into prime time with Alex Stein. Is that what happened?
Yes.
That's what I saw. I just want to make sure I'm getting it right. Okay, that's a bad idea. For any reason, like that's people who subscribe to watch Elijah and Sydney they're going to unsubscribe like crazy, and then you've got a weird algorithmic thing. But I understand why they do that. You don't want to just nuke a channel, but in this instance, we have more alt media conflict, infighting. This story, it says from Timcast.com, former Blaze TV personality and YouTuber Sydney Watson is suing the outlet for retaliation and wrongful termination, along with religious and sex discrimination for alleged abuse by fellow former Blaze personality Elijah Schaefer. That's crazy because I thought they were friends, but I know that she quit. I know the show fell apart. So I'll also add, I'm not sure that Elijah has put out a statement or anything. So what you're getting are accusations. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying Sydney's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know what the full picture is. They say Watson claims she signed with the Blaze TV because the company reportedly represented itself as an incubator of talent, citing previous success with past personalities, Dana Lash and Tommy Loren. The former personality also claimed the outlet's moral values played a role in her decision to sign with Blaze TV. Watson claimed Schaefer engaged in misogyny and acted in a grossly sexual nature and reportedly drank on set, though Blaze TV reportedly catered to the demands, tantrums, and misbehavior of Schaefer, according to the complaint, citing Schaefer as the star and primary asset of the outlet. He appeared to enjoy the intimidation factor that his physical size gave him with respect to Miss Watson, reads Watson's complaint. The choice of guests compounded Miss Watson's growing discomfort with the anti-female tone of the show and off-air interactions. Watson cited a December 3rd appearance of controversial political commentator Nick Fuentes, claiming he was grossly misogynistic, and Schaefer appeared to condone the behavior. It was at about this time, the environment of the production began to become notably more hostile, not merely to Miss Watson, but to many of the women at the Blaze. That's very interesting. Watson further cited a hostile interaction during a December 2021 episode in which guest Jack Murphy berated Watson regarding the content of a viewer's super chat. The former Blaze TV personality further accused her co-host of unilaterally booking guests with particularly contemptible and sexist opinions towards women. The complaint also claimed audience members were encouraged by Mr. Schaefer's conduct and attacked Miss Watson so often and so intensely that other guests noted it and were put off. The suit cites super chats containing grossly sexist and anti-Jewish sentiment, which Miss Watson claimed was cultivated by Schaefer. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I've been on the show a couple times. I was on with Alex one time, Alex Jones,
Alex
and
Jones.
And I was also on as a standalone guest. The one time that I was on as a standalone guest, Elijah got significant, like he got real drunk.
Wow.
He got drunk enough where I wasn't going out after the show to hang out. I went back to my hotel room. And,
In the studio, he got drunk?
Yep. Yeah. And when I was on with Alex, he wasn't. I don't recall him being significantly drunk, but the one time that I was on, it was awkward and weird. But he was nice, but you could tell that he had been drinking. So maybe, and I didn't see him behave in an inappropriate way when I was there. But I know how booze is. I mean, there's a reason I don't drink anymore.
The one thing I did hear was that Sydney would often read super chats that contained dog whistles or whatever people were saying, and she wouldn't know. They'd be like, hey, read the super chat. She would read. I think that's one of the complaints she had, that she'd get goaded into reading these offensive and.
Was there a shtick that they read every single super chat? I didn't watch the show.
I think at first it was when it was still growing. But yeah, they would have super chats. There's like a new viral clip. It's not of Sydney Watson, but it's of basically these two girls, and one girl's like, happy birthday to, and it's like a word that says the N-word. But they didn't realize until after. So they would do that to Sydney a lot. Yeah. And I think with Sydney, her failure on that was the second you show that it bothers you, people are going to keep going. That's like, as someone that's like a troll, like I notice if I say something that bothers someone, I just keep. Yeah. If someone tells me not to do something, I do it. So like that's just the way she handled it incorrectly, and just I feel like Elijah's audience just did not mesh with her. I never thought that they were a good mixture in general, because she's pretty feminist, especially for the right, in my view. Like she's
Sydney is?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she probably would not like the stuff I post.
I mean, I kind of feel like I don't look. Elijah Schaefer hasn't come out and issued a statement on this, but Sydney seems to be a more level-headed person when it comes to issues of feminism. She calls out the BS.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like if she's coming out and being like, "Hey, this is what happened," and granted, this is like I've not heard what she's said about it. Probably she won't, because you don't speak when you're in a lawsuit. But I'm kind of like, she's credible on this stuff. If she's coming out and saying, hey, these are things that were bad, like I'd take it seriously. I don't want to throw Elijah under the bus because I don't know.
Yeah,
but I don't see Sydney lying about something when she's level-headed about it.
It's so hard to weigh in on this because we're obviously not there. We don't know. She seems great. She's talented. I was really grateful Elijah had me on after I went to the opening statements for January 6th, and he had me on to talk my article. Super professional. It was a good experience, but I am not in the room with either one of them every day, right? I don't know Sydney. I don't know Elijah all that well. And it is hard to see these things hashed out in a public forum. Not that they shouldn't be, but because people are so quick to weigh in on these things that you actually have very limited experience about. If she was treated badly, that's terrible. And I hope there is something to do, like something happens from it, but also like I feel like I have to be really careful and say like I don't know what's going on.
Are we in a simulation, guys? Be honest with me. Is this a Truman Show? Are you guys punking me or something? Because we had Crowder and the Daily Wire from December into January. We have Project Veritas and O'Keefe. Obviously, we got embroiled in some drama, and that's why this is exactly what I'm like. This stuff freaks me out. Now you've got Blaze undergoing its own version. How is all of this happening at the same time?
Because the midterms haven't really kicked off, or the elections primaries haven't kicked off yet. That's why.
I don't know. I mean, I know drama happens all the time, but to this degree, at this level,
and at each independent outlet, kind of like one by one by one,
it's coordinated, like you said, Tim.
But I was joking. But this is exactly why I was like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. Look, like I'll eat crow. I'll do whatever. I'm scared that this stuff is just bad for what may be like the last bastion of hope in a chaotic world. It's not just about wokeness. It's not just about Democrats or whatever. It's about the fires of chaos and the struggle of order to maintain. It's like, it feels like we're the last city with our walls fortifying us, and every day the fires and the zombies are trying to break in, and we're trying to reclaim, this territory. If we're fighting inside over politics, it's just oof.
Full disclosure, I've been very friendly with Elijah in the past, and I've been friendly with Sydney in the past too. I think the most troublesome part of this is that, unfortunately, this isn't Elijah's only trouble that happened at the Blaze. I think he got fired for inappropriate behavior towards another coworker in the past. And I think a bigger trend here, not just with Elijah, but with a lot of influencers, is failing to live up to the values that they perpetuate or claim to perpetuate. So if you're claiming that you're a family man and, you believe that males should protect females and, that sort of ideology, and then you don't exhibit any of those characteristics on the show, and you're married and behave in a different way, at your company, then I think a bigger issue here is, again, people failing to live up to their values or the values that they claim. And you guys could read in between the lines here because I'm not giving a lot of details, but I think this isn't only an issue with Elijah. Many people fail to live up to the values they espouse. And I just kind of wanted to get that out there because that is... yeah.
That's why like even though like this is a fairly conservative orbit show, a lot of social conservatives and stuff like that. That's why I'm very open and clear that I am a total degenerate. Like, I don't want people thinking that I'm going to say, oh, hey, or that I'm going to be saying that I'm some kind of social conservative, or that, someone be like, oh, Phil, this girl that Phil hooked up with, blah, 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 or whatever. Like, there is no airs of putting on like, oh, I'm some kind of...
You're not saying you're a trad man while you're married, and then saying you don't drink, and then drink, and then, you have a wife, and then behave in ways that people with wives shouldn't behave. Yes. So, like, you're not putting on a persona that's not true. Aren't you a rock star? You're,
exactly,
you doing things is different than people who claim to be...
Too many LARPers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, but they're just like you said, it's too many people that aren't living up to the values that they espouse. Like, there's very, very rarely is anyone going to be able to say, oh, Phil, you're supporting this big government idea, blah, blah, blah. I'm fairly consistent with my political ideology, but when it comes to, social conservative things, I'm not a social conservative. So.
And this is oftentimes too, people will gatekeep others and say, you're not enough of this. You're not doing enough of this, when in reality, if they looked in the mirror, they aren't actually exemplifying any of the qualities that they perpetuate.
Right.
Do you think any of the issue, sorry.
Just real quick. Obviously, we know a lot of people involved in this. Yeah. So until I get confirmation that I'm allowed to share, I've got people right now blowing up my phone over this stuff. I'll just say right now, what I'm hearing from multiple people is disputed. Like, the conflict between the two is disputed. Basically, like, I'll leave it at that because I need to, after the show, talk to them and say, hey, can we get this on record and stuff like that. But
this wasn't the reason Elijah was originally fired from the Blaze, as I understand. It was another situation, an incident with him and Sarah Gonzalez.
Oh, that's right.
Person who did work at the Blaze. So that's why I mentioned that other thing, and that it's part of a more grand people perpetuating positions of themselves that aren't necessarily true. I'm friendly with Sid as well. Like, I don't want to, like, I personally, like, we have a rapport, and I
she's not the kind of person that makes stuff up. So, from my perspective,
Well, I think clearly people have a hunger for this political drama. So I think what we should do is have a Jersey Shore style political reality TV show house. So that way we can get our drama fixed.
And every one of the alternative media companies has to send one person.
Yes, so then there's our drama, but then
We'll
everyone
send
else.
Ian because I think that's our best bet.
Ian will be desperately trying to make everyone get along, but
That would go
naively,
viral.
like, not understanding the political conflict. Like, we'll get leftists and right wingers. He'll be like, guys, you got to work together on this. And they'll be like, he's a fascist, she's a commie.
this is a great idea.
Right? I'm telling you, this is the
a great
game show.
idea.
Right?
At the,
It's missing piece.
at the very least, it'd be a hilarious sitcom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
viral,
it's
so viral. I'm like rewatching Jersey Shore right now, and they filmed that when it was okay to be not woke, and they're super offensive. And I'm just thinking, wow, imagine we just put like a bunch of the biggest political influencers all in one house and record it. Amazing.
Aren't they doing a reunion?
Jersey Shore.
Oh,
was
they've been
awesome.
doing it. I'm watching it.
They do like
It's
a
so
family
awesome.
vacation.
And
It's
the right
recently,
wing, the right wing.
They can never stop. Do you think that some of these issues come up, especially in social conservative circles, because people misunderstand what being traditional means, what being traditionally masculine means, what being feminine means? Do you think that there's any times a misinterpretation of what those values are that gets people into trouble?
I think there might be a misinterpretation of what is traditionally masculine and what is a positive masculine, behavior. And I think that is because of the way that masculine men have been portrayed for the past 30 years or so. I don't think that it's a misunderstanding of what like traditional is. I think that it's just dudes be horny, like and like booze lowers inhibitions and all the things that all of the vices that are vices that lead people astray from know whatever kind of puritanical ideas they have. I think that that's a very normal thing that happens, not something that we should that you should be happy about, but it's something that's very normal. And I don't think scandal is new. Scandal and that kind of behavior goes as far back as there's been human beings.
Yeah, it makes me think of I've known some people who describe themselves as alpha males who you see them conduct themselves, and what they seem to believe is being a strong man is actually being very domineering and being sort of it's like this misinterpretation. You don't know if because maybe they've been fed this one narrative so long there's an overcompensation, or if they actually don't. Or if they can't kind of evaluate how they are conducting themselves. So
like someone like Andrew Tate is definitely not like he's definitely a masculine dude, but I don't think that he's the kind of dude that you should emulate if you are looking to have a traditional life. If that's your deal, I don't think that Andrew Tate's the guy you should try to be at all.
I feel like we're living in a golden age of being a fraud because it's easier to lie about your resume more than ever. It goes beyond people that we're talking about now. Like Liver King guy was selling people a bill of goods that was completely
Anybody
wrong.
that believes that Liver King wasn't doing steroids, I have a bridge in Brooklyn that is up for sale. DM me, my DMs are open. I will sell you that bridge.
But sadly, a lot of young men believe him.
But I don't know enough about Andrew Tate, but I feel like there is a Matrix attack against him to smear him. I'm actually only half kidding when I say that, because the clips I've seen of him, not the ones that people spread around to smear him. That may be bad. He may have said those bad things, but I've heard good things from him.
Yeah,
I've heard things that are, and the response I hear from people is like, oh, well, actually, when Eliza Blue was on, she was like, he's not saying anything new or unique that no one else has. I'm like, yeah, but he's like a championship kickboxer who's coming out and telling guys to work hard, be successful, don't give up, start working out, eat right. And I'm like, that's pretty good. The fact that a guy can generate a massive following and make a ton of money because he's convinced a bunch of young men to start doing push-ups and exercise is good. As for the other stuff, I can only say we talked about on this show, 2 of the women that they claim were victims came out and said they weren't, and the judge ruled they were. It's like, if you can't have witnesses come out and actually defend you because a court says you're not allowed to. So look, I'll put it this way. They've not charged the Tates with a crime.
They haven't charged them yet?
They're not charged with any crime.
Oh.
They're in custody?
Hanging out in custody.
They arrested them with no charges. And I'm like, so everyone's saying like, is this a Matrix attack against the Tate brothers? And we're like, well, I don't know. I've seen these videos. And then it's like, oh, by the way, they never actually charged them. They just locked them up. Because that's what they do in Romania, I guess. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I've got questions about this. Then when the witnesses came out and said they weren't victims, and then the judge said, nah, you're brainwashed. And people went, well, sometimes people are brainwashed. I'm like, I don't care. A woman has agency. If she says, I am fine with this, there's no victim.
Yeah.
But they still locked the guy up. So I'm not trying to come out with a full-throated defense of Andrew Tate because I don't know a lot of what he said. All I know is that doesn't make sense. And all I know is the messages that I've heard, he had one where he said, rocket ship to the moon, doesn't stop halfway to take a break. It keeps going and it keeps working. And I'm like, I mean, I like that. I don't know about the rest of it. I don't follow it.